Hello and welcome back to today's Training Industry Learning Tech Showcase, AI in Training, sponsored by ELB Learning, GP Strategies, Is Easy, Lemonade LXP, and Litmos. So I'm Liz Spade, the Events Marketing Specialist here at Training Industry, and I'm thrilled to have you with us here today. Before we get started, I would like to quickly go over a few housekeeping items to help you interact with our speakers and get the most out of today's program. So for this session, please use that chat window to interact with our speaker with any comments. And as for questions, please submit all those questions to the Q&A section on your toolbar below. We will be addressing all comments and questions throughout the event, but as well as have some dedicated time at the end of this session. So don't be shy and plug those questions away. And at the end of your time here with us, you'll notice a short evaluation survey popped open in another tab in your browser. We would appreciate your thoughts on today's event. And all of our sessions are being recorded and archived on trainingindustry.com, and you will receive a follow-up email from us that will include the link to the on-demand sessions for you to share with your team. If this is your first Training Industry event, we would love to welcome you. We exist to make connections among learning and development professionals. We offer tons of resources to support your role in L&D, like live events like today's Learning Tech Showcase, as well as through articles on our website, our magazine, conferences, research reports, and our podcasts. We would also love to hear about what you've learned from today's session on social media, so please follow us on your favorite platforms and let's continue the conversation. And without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce you to our speakers. Andreas Simanowski is the Senior Director of Product Development for ELB Learning. And then we have Josh Bleggi, who is the Learning Solutions Engineer at ELB. And with that, take it away, gentlemen.
All right, great. Thanks, Liz. Appreciate the introduction there. So hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. So Dre and I are going to be presenting here on two different solutions from ELB Learning, but I did want to, as we jump in here, just kind of highlight something. If you're not familiar with us before or have not encountered ELB, what we have to offer, we offer a lot of different solutions for technology as well as custom services for like human transformation and L&D type topics. And so today we're primarily focused on our technology solutions, obviously, for the tech showcase today. So both these solutions that you're going to see are part of what we call Learning Creation Studio. This is just our collection of applications. Each one of these do have a little bit of AI component to them, but we can't really cover that in the time that we have. So we're just going to focus on two. First one being our rapid authoring tool, MicroBuilder, designed for really anybody that does not necessarily have an instructional design background to come in and build their own content. And the second is going to be an enhancement to our Rehearsal platform that Dre is going to speak on. So Dre, can everyone see my screen? I'm not 100% sure I shared that right.
I can see your screen, Josh.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So the concept behind MicroBuilder here, so this is our newest tool from ELB. We released this out of beta last year. And the idea for this tool is to create something that is very simple and efficient for really anybody of any background to come in and build content for training purposes, because we know that that function sometimes doesn't only solely rely within L&D, but not everybody has the skills to create training. And so we created a super simple tool to do this through the use of just building this kind of blocked concept where you're adding different pieces of content, and we'll get into what some of these are here in a little bit, just on your own, kind of putting this together. But then we took a step further and said, okay, let's make this more AI driven. And so this whole module that you're seeing here today, outside of small tweaks here and there, I did not write any of this. This was purely AI driven. I did not obviously record these videos. That's not me. That's an AI avatar. And even this game here, which we won't get into this aspect of it, but this game here was even fully generated with AI based on the same topic through our Train Arcade product as well, which is a separate platform that integrates here with MicroBuilder. And so what we're going to do here in the next few minutes is we're going to try to recreate as much of this as we possibly can using the same process that I used to build this. And so that starts from coming out here to our main dashboard here. So these are all the different modules that I've created over time. Obviously, I use this platform quite a bit. And for today's demonstration, I'm just going to hit Create New Module. And so when we open up this Create New Module pane, you'll see that there's a couple of different options. You can fully skip the AI if you want to, which obviously we're not going to do that today. Or you can start by typing in a prompt and also uploading my own sources to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in a prompt. I'm also going to upload a source as well. So that way it has a bit more context to what we are doing here today. Let me go ahead and type in, just let me find my document really fast here. So today, similar to that one that we saw just a second ago as our demonstration, we're going to build a module today about the role of AI in modern journalism. So I have a little document here that I put together. This is actually already using AI from ChatGPT, using their deep learning stuff to build a little PDF of knowledge there for us. So we're going to upload that and then type in a prompt and say, I want a micro learning about the role of AI in modern journalism. Your audience is a high school civics class. Keep things kind of short and simple. And simple. So very low prompt there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create there. So now it's going to do all its little thinking here. And what you'll notice here is, so right now there's this loader happening, and there's going to be some trivia there. And the first little bit starts talking about microlearning because that's really where this tool was initially designed towards, to build these short snippets of little bits of learning here. But now you'll see that it actually swapped that out for a question that is relevant to our topic. And so this is just a fun little loader to make sure that it's going in the right direction. And so you're always able to make sure that, the AI is taking the right step back, and that way when you get the module, you won't be surprised by what content it's producing. And so that came out pretty fast here. So now it's building that module for us. And so we're getting that outline of all of our text here. And so now you'll notice that, we built out this nice little outline here of this course. And now it's up to us to then make this better learning, a little prettier, whatever you want to do here. And we can do that in a number of different ways. And so some of those ways being, as we read through this, we can say, okay, AI and news gathering. And once I read through the section, maybe I want to make this a little bit longer. So I'll go ahead and elaborate on that and allow the AI to do that writing for me. Now, at any point, I can also come in here and make my own edits to this content. But for the sake of demonstration today, I'm just going to show you some of these AI assistants here. So these AI assistant functions that we have. And so that's going to start, again, doing some thinking. And so what it's doing now is, because I use that document, it's referencing that document as well as the LLM to kind of build this all together. And so that document that I uploaded, it actually does stay kind of local to this particular module as part of the information that it's gathering here. So that's not going out and training anything at this point. It's just being used for this particular thing. And so, okay, at this point, that's maybe a little bit too elaborate. So maybe I want to go back and simplify that again for us. But maybe that's a little too much information. And so we can kind of use that to tweak that writing length a bit, or the detail that we're seeing. You'll also notice down here, we do have some functions to write scenarios as well that we can just insert here if we'd like to. But for our purposes today, again, I'm just going to use my little drop down and say, okay, AI news production, I want to add a little scenario here. If you add it via that block that we saw down below here, you can give it a bit more guidance to it. But the idea here is it's now just taking the context of this block and building us an analogy from that point there.
Hey, Josh, we have one question from Kelly in Q&A. She was asking, how do you stop it if you see it's going in the wrong direction before it produces the first draft?
So the easiest way to do that is just hit the close on the tab there, and it's going to stop that function from running. And so then you just start a new module and go again from that point there. So, okay, so now we have a little analogy there. So another function here within MicroBuilder, because right now this is heavily text-based, we're going to go ahead and just copy this little bit of text here. We're going to actually add a block, and we're going to insert an avatar video. Now, this won't generate in the time that we have allotted. It does take a few minutes to do so. But what we're going to do here is just pick our avatar, type in our script, and we're going to go ahead and generate our audio.
Artificial intelligence, AI,
just a
is
moment
a
once
branch of
it's
computer
ready to
science
go.
that aims to create machines that
We'll be
think
able to
and
do
learn
that
like
as long as I
humans.
don't have anything
In journalism,
muted here,
AI is
but
used to enhance reporting and
and
storytelling.
we can kind of adjust that
AI
slider
tools can
if
analyze
we'd
data
like to
quickly,
regenerate that
generate
audio.
news
But I'm just going to hit
reports,
next for the sake of time today. And just say, okay, that's good on the background. You can pick from one of the others and then just generate that video. Now, typically what I like to do is I will introduce with an AI avatar. And then if there's a particular point throughout the module that I really want to make sure that they pay attention to, because I think that a lot of people may pay more attention to video than they do to text, I'll insert one for one of those key points. And then I'll generally do one on the back end for a closing as well, for just to kind of give it, you know, some consistency there. But for right now, we'll just generate that one video there. But you can see this is all going pretty quickly. Like I said, these videos take a little bit more time to produce. So now this doesn't look too pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and build and just put in a theme here. And I do have my own, you know, themes here that I've used in the past. Let me see if I can find the one I used for that module.
Josh, I have one more
Yeah,
question
what's up?
for you in the
Yeah.
Q&A from Chris. How is user
Mhm.
data secured in transit and at rest? What encryption standards are used?
To be 100% honest with you, I do not know the answer to that question, but it's one that I'd be happy to address in an email afterwards if you would like.
Next question, which GPT model is used in the creator? Is it connected through API?
Yeah, so it's using the 4.0, and it is connected through an API key.
So customers can put their own API key in, or are we using
No, we're
ELB's?
using our own. Yeah, we're using our own. There has been talks about allowing bring your own LLM type situations in the future, but for the moment, it's just going through our API.
And then I believe Laura, excuse me if I pronounced your name incorrectly, was asking, can you create a custom avatar of yourself?
Not currently. It is just from a built-in selection of avatars, but again, functionality we're investigating in the future.
And then is data shared with third parties, subcontractors?
No, not typically, no. If you're sharing, like we do have some customers that will buy licenses and then, you know, assign them to contractors at that point, but ELB does not provide that information to anyone.
And so we can't currently choose or change the GPT model that's being used, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, that is correct. Do we have open source? You can upload your own sources. I don't think that that's what you're asking for, Vincent, though. So we just have the ability again to pull from the API that we have connected to ChatGPT, as well as any documents that you're going to upload there. So last thing that I'll show you here within this platform, then we'll turn the time over to Dre to show you more. Obviously, like we can go a lot more detail into this particular tool. But one thing you might have noticed over here is we do have translation capabilities. So one of the things that we do note that a lot of people have in their organizations is the requirement to make sure that the content is localized and going to be available to everyone that has the need to take their content. And so we've included AI translation in here as well. Now, if our video is done processing and everything else, looks like it actually just got done. You'll be able to potentially see that it's also going to do the closed captioning, the voiceover. Sometimes that takes a few minutes. But let me go ahead and select a language here. We're just going to use, for the sake of languages that I know personally a little bit, we're going to go ahead and just move this over to Spanish. We'll hit translate now. Now, what you'll typically see here is that with all languages, it's going to be able to translate the text on screen here. So you'll see that, as well as it will also do the closed captioning on the videos. Now, sometimes Again, that does take a little bit longer to do that on our videos here, just because it takes time to process that and understand it. Let me go ahead and maybe just close that out real fast and see if it's doing that. Will allow it to do give us the translation here.
Inteligencia artificial AI. Es una rama de la informática que tiene como objetivo crear máquinas que piensen y aprendan como humanos. En el periodismo, AI se utiliza cada vez más para mejorar el reportaje y la narración de historias. Las herramientas de IA pueden analizar datos rápidamente, generar informes de noticias y ayudar a los periodistas en la...
But you can obviously add more languages to that as well, so that they can pull from that drop-down list and be able to select the language that they need for their needs today. And the way that this content is then distributed out to your audience, you can either download it as, once it's published, you can either download it as a SWARM file or an XAPI file as well, but you can also produce it as just a URL link. So in case of situations where you may want to do something that's more of a just-in-time type training, or maybe you're sending something out over like Microsoft Teams or something of that nature, you're able to create a link there, and those links can be public or private if you want it to be password protected as well. Let's see, next, I see a question here that says, to confirm, are the videos created within the tool? No need to link to another tool to create it. Yes, yeah, for the video function in the tool, yes, it is all directly within MicroBuilder that you'll be doing that. There's no reason, there's no other account you need to set up, no, nothing of that nature. Again, Chris, I don't know how to answer that one on the PII situation. Typically, that's not something that's going to be handled here within the tool, because you're talking more about user information. And this is not necessarily a platform where your students are going to be logging in and having their own accounts. And so this is just going to be company information as part of this. And so it's, again, we do our best to safeguard all data that comes into our system, but there's no specific safeguards for this particular tool with PII, just due to the fact that, again, most users are not logging into it unless they're authoring content on the platform. Does it export to Articulate? You could probably take the link that is available and put that in as a web object in Articulate and Storyline, something of that nature. I don't know if you would, do the same thing within Rise. I just don't know that that use case is really there, but yeah, you could take the link of the published course and do so if you'd like to. Oh, you are hearing the audio even though I'm not. That's interesting. Thank you, Tim, for pointing that out. Yeah, so that's MicroBuilder. And so I'm going to pass over to Dre to talk Rehearsal now. And if you want to learn more about either of these tools, feel free to contact us. We're happy to help explain more.
Okay. Josh, can you see my slide here?
Yep, I see it.
Perfect. Great presentation, Josh. Thanks for doing that. We're going to switch gears here, everyone. Hi, I'm Andreas, and I'll be walking you through a new capability that we've been developing in Rehearsal, which is called AI Roleplay. If you're not familiar with our Rehearsal product, it is a video-based practice platform where students or learners can receive coaching feedback through AI or mentorship. It's very video-centric, and so this is kind of our next-gen feature, doing live role play using AI. So it's really, we see it as a fundamental shift in how we can enable immersive hands-on practice for those critical communication skills. It's built on core AI roleplay functionality, and we see this capability fitting into our existing Rehearsal platform, as I mentioned, but as well as incorporating that learner experience, particularly with your LMS, as well as ELB Learning's suite of authoring tools. So both are driven by, both use cases, we see them driven by different user needs. And so we want to give customers that flexibility of choice, but they both have, the same core value, which is allowing learners to practice these real world conversations with a dynamic AI agent. But let's dive into our AI roleplay. So we're going to start off with, on the authoring side, we have our interaction models. These form really the basis of our role plays that we'll be developing. I have one here already. This is actually what we'll be creating, but I'm just going to go ahead and create a new interaction model. So what we'll be doing today is I'm going to create a role play for a customer success manager, or CSM, to practice engaging with clients using what we call a structured growth discovery conversation. This is actually something that we've rolled out internally that we're doing internal training for our CSMs on. So I'm just going to add real quick. Title. Like everything in Rehearsal, we like to have an introductory video. I feel that really helps personalize the experience for the learner, having either their mentor or whoever designed the course material kind of walk them through like a little introduction. You can put, really say whatever you want. You can have goals that you want the learner to hit as well, so specific instructions, or just keep it light. I'm going to do a very brief introduction. Hi there, welcome to your role play. You'll be playing the role of the CSM for this growth discovery conversation. And I'll stop the recording there. We process the video in the back end. We pull out the transcript, which you can see here now. I can edit this transcript if I need to, if it's off. And then the next part, which is really the meat of the model, is I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste the instructions that we already had. So these are learner-facing instructions that we already had. And so to keep it simple, I'm just going to copy and paste this material in here. I've got, a little bit of instruction here for what role the learner is going to play. They'll be talking to Jordan Reynolds, who's the Director of Training and Development at Technova Solutions. We have, our defined stages here. Stage 1, objective, approach, results, challenges, etc., that we want the CSM to go through. We want them to guide the conversation through these defined stages, because we feel this will help them uncover new business growth opportunities and help them better understand our client needs deeply. So we have these strategies, we have examples in here for them as well. Notes for the CSM, we want you asking open-ended questions, things like that. And so, this is a proprietary process that we have. LLMs don't know about this, but you can see here, it's just pretty straightforward. I'm putting in the instructions directly, and this will go into training, or not training, but defining the parameters of the AI model. So, which we'll also be testing next. So I'll just publish that here and save it. Now that I've saved it, I want to be able to test it to see how this model is going to, how the interaction is going to work, how the agent's going to respond, things like that. So I'll just go ahead, select my model, and we'll start a new session. So you can see here, I have my introductory video. Hi there, welcome. Josh, could you hear that video, that
Yep.
audio? Yep, okay. There's all the same instructions, and I'm just going to follow the script right now just to stay on time here, and allow time for questions too. Hey there, Jordan. Thanks for taking time for me today. How are you doing? So I'm going to record myself. We're going to take that video, transcribe it, pull out the audio, the text, and then we have this little chat interface. I'm going to see my responses, and then the AI
Hi, I'm
agent.
doing well. Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to our conversation. How about you?
Good. Thank you for asking. To kick things off, Jordan, I'd love to hear what's the big picture you're aiming for with your learning initiatives this year? And so kind of have this chat interface, right? So pretty familiar for a lot of people, or should be. I get full transcripts of my audio, of the agent's audio as well.
Thanks for asking. This year, we're really focused on enhancing our digital learning platforms to make training more accessible and engaging for our employees.
So I also get some flash feedback. So these are like hints, or you can think of this as a coaching tool for the learner to give them some feedback on how they're doing right now, as well as some hints on what they should be thinking about for the next steps. So I'm just going to do one more. That makes sense. Out of curiosity, what have you tried so far to move forward towards your goals, and how are you currently going about it? It really, it really caused me to practice, to try and go through this approach that we have laid out here. And, I can come as a learner, I can come and practice and keep refining my pitch.
We've implemented a
back
few
and
new
forth.
tools, like a learning management system that offers a variety of online courses. We've also started a pilot program for virtual.
So, as you can see here from these pretty open-ended instructions, we've got the LLM, or the agent, is developing very specific responses that it's just kind of, I want to say making up, but it's well defined within its role that's appropriate for this conversation here. So I can really dive deep into, how are they enhancing their leadership skills, and really try to dive down and uncover these conversations and what our customers are looking for. So, but I'm going to stop us here. And
Jeremy, we got a couple of questions for you that have come up here. So let me go ahead and kind of go back to some of these. We got a wow, this is really cool, and this will be great for practicing communication skills with new members. So that's pretty cool. So you guys are already seeing the idea behind why we created this platform. But a couple that have popped up is, okay, how do you program the prompt to ensure the avatar responds to the right type of responses, etc.? Can you give a little background on that?
Yeah, so you could put in, if you want very specific guided responses for the AI agent, you can put those in. For example, just like Josh, I would instruct you, hey, if the learner says this, I want you to reply with this, and so on. And with some of our customers that are testing this today, they'll have a very structured script that they want their agents to go through, for example. So that's one way you can do it, and it works pretty well, actually.
Okay. Then can the personality be changed to be less cooperative and possibly more confrontational? And this kind of goes into a second question that we had about, like, is there a full range of emotions available for the avatars? And I think you and I were talking about this the other day, that we're planning on implementing something like that, if I remember correctly, in the platform.
Yeah, we are. So I don't have that here yet, but in development, we are developing options for what do you want your avatar to look like. So you could choose from a range of them. You could upload your own picture, voice characteristics as well, so male or female, intonation. Are they angry, happy? Do you want it to sound like a California surfer dude? Things like that. But then, we have some customers where they're doing sales conversations and cold calling, and they want the AI to be like a gatekeeper, for example. And so very, maybe standoffish or not happy, or you have an unhappy customer calling in. Those are all things that we can put into the prompt, and the AI agent will respond accordingly.
Yeah. And okay, so there's been a couple more questions here, though, around like preventing bias within the AI. And we've discussed, I've discussed this before too, with particularly with like accents or grammatical variations. how are we like approaching that particular aspect of this platform? Because I can see that being a challenge, I guess, for a lot of people.
Yeah, so I mean, bias, we're really, choosing the best models out there to work with. So whether it's OpenAI or Gemini, these companies are really spending millions and billions of dollars trading their models. And we're relying on them for bias or to mitigate bias. It's not 100%. It's perfect yet. It is getting better and better. But what we have also put into our AI agents is really putting guardrails around the responses to make sure they're appropriate, to make sure they stay in character, things like that. So it is this technology is evolving very, very quickly.
Okay.
So.
Well, with that, gentlemen, I know there have been tons of questions. I think we have like 20 plus at this point, but we are unfortunately out of time. So for those questions that we haven't gotten addressed, the ELB team will, of course, get those. You can always connect with anybody at the ELB team and ask these questions as well. But I see you have some things you want to talk about, gentlemen. So I'm going to hand it back off to you to say some last few words, and then we will show you how to get to our next session, everybody.
I would just love to feedback from the audience, please. If you want to post in the chat, what do you see as your most compelling use cases for this, and how do you see it integrating in your existing workflows, both for MicroBuilder and for AI Roleplay? We want your feedback. That's part of why we're doing these presentations, is to get, hear from you firsthand on what your needs are.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the questions that popped up here that I do feel like we need to respond to is, when is this going to be available in Rehearsal? That's still a few months out for sure. We're still trying to make sure that it's tested properly with some beta customers. So if you are interested in helping us with that, again, feel free to contact us to do so. But we're really excited for the potential of both of these products, and as well as everything else here at ELB.
Fabulous. Yes, please answer these questions. I'll keep it on the screen for just a little bit longer. But this was amazing, guys, and thank you so much. You have a lot of questions to address soon, so this is great. Thank you so much. But for everyone else, yes, we're going to take about a 14-minute break. Up next, we have Holly Kane from Lemonade LXP for their session, Revolutionizing Learning, AI-Powered Training for Mastery Performance. So in just a moment, I'm going to end the session, and you can join our next session by returning to the event lobby and going to the session tab. I hope you all stick around for our next session, which will begin shortly. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Everyone.